It seems like everyone's presenting online more and more these days.
Yeah.
But honestly, sometimes it feels like you're just talking to a wall of blank screens.
Oh,
you
my
know?
God.
So how can we make those virtual presentations pop?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
We've all been there, like, just staring into the void, hoping that someone on the other side is actually paying attention.
Exactly.
I think it all starts with clarity.
Definitely.
Even if you have the most amazing ideas,
Mm-hmm.
they can get lost if people can't hear you, or if your video keeps freezing up.
Yeah, so it's not just about what you say, but how you say it.
Exactly.
For sure. I've definitely been in those meetings where someone's audio is just cutting in and out,
Oh, yeah.
and you just can't focus on the content.
Makes it impossible.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah.
Think of it this way, like, before you even start talking,
Okay.
you're setting the stage.
Uh-huh.
A good microphone can make a world of difference.
Right.
And don't underestimate good lighting.
Okay.
You don't need like a Hollywood studio or anything.
Yeah. Right.
But just make sure your face is well lit
Yeah.
and your background is clean and uncluttered.
That's a good point. I've never really thought about my home office as like a set before.
Yeah.
So any tips on the lighting?
Well, think about it like a news anchor.
Okay.
You want like a nice, soft, even lighting that kind of eliminates shadows.
Okay.
A ring light can work wonders.
Oh, yeah.
And you can even get affordable LED panels online.
That's helpful.
Yeah,
It's amazing how these small details can have such a big impact.
they really can.
But what about connecting with the audience on a personal level?
Yeah.
Because it's so easy to feel disconnected in the virtual world.
Oh, yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
So this is where the magic of virtual eye contact comes in.
Okay.
So look directly at your camera lens, like
Right.
you're talking to someone who's right in front of you.
Good.
I know it feels weird at first,
Uh-huh.
but it makes a much stronger connection with your viewers.
That's interesting because I always catch myself looking at the faces on the screen. But I guess that's not really eye contact.
It's natural.
Yeah.
But remember, those people are seeing you through the camera lens.
Yeah.
Think of the lens as the eyes of your audience.
Okay.
It takes practice,
Huh?
but once you get used to it, it becomes second nature.
Gotcha. So we've got our audio, video, and eye contact sorted out.
Right.
But what about those tech glitches that always seem to happen?
Ugh, yes.
Like my computer just has a knack for crashing at the worst possible moments.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Tech troubles are like a rite of passage
Right.
in the virtual world.
Mm.
The key is to be prepared.
Okay.
Always have a backup plan,
Like what?
like a phone or a tablet you can switch to
Oh,
if your main computer decides to take a break.
right.
And don't forget to have a copy of your presentation saved somewhere else,
Yeah, good point.
just in case.
Yeah, those are good tips.
Yeah,
But even with the best preparation, things can still go wrong.
of course.
So how do you recommend handling those unexpected hiccups gracefully? Because I think I would just want to crawl under my desk.
I think we've all been there.
Right.
The most important thing is just to stay calm.
Okay.
Your audience understands that these things happen.
Yeah.
Take a breath. Address the issue briefly.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe even use some humor to lighten the mood.
Okay.
You can say something like, well, folks, it seems technology has decided to have a little fun with us today.
I like that.
Yeah.
While I get this sorted out, feel free to share your favorite tech fail stories in the chat.
Right, exactly.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
Turn it into an opportunity to engage.
Right.
And it makes you seem more human.
Exactly.
So let's move beyond just surviving those tech issues.
Okay.
How can we really take our virtual presentations to the next level?
Well, it's all about embracing the possibilities of the digital world.
Right.
You know, we have so many amazing tools at our disposal.
Right.
So instead of just talking at your audience,
Yeah.
think about how to make the experience more interactive.
I'm all ears because I feel like my presentations have been a bit one-dimensional lately.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's start with screen sharing.
Okay.
Think beyond just static slides. You can demonstrate software,
Yeah.
walk through websites,
Right.
show relevant documents,
That?
even play a short video clip.
Mm.
It really brings your presentation to life.
I love that.
Yeah.
I've seen presenters do that effectively,
Mm-hmm.
but I always get a little nervous about messing it up.
Sure.
So, any advice for smooth screen sharing?
Practice makes perfect.
Of course.
Do a few dry runs beforehand.
Okay.
And make sure you're not accidentally sharing any personal or confidential information.
Oh, yeah. Good point. You don't want to accidentally flash your shopping list
Exactly.
to the entire team.
Uh-huh. Right.
Okay.
Remember, screen sharing should enhance your presentation,
Uh-huh.
not distract from it.
Right.
Keep it relevant, concise, and engaging.
Okay.
Don't just read from the screen.
Gotcha.
Use it as a visual aid. to illustrate your points.
That's really helpful, like a whole new way of thinking about presentations.
Yeah.
But I'm curious about those interactive features that come built into those platforms like Zoom or Teams. Are those worth exploring?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Features like polls and surveys are fantastic for getting real-time feedback from your audience.
Okay.
You can gauge understanding, gather opinions, even use the results to shape the direction of your presentation
Okay.
on the fly.
So it's like having a conversation,
It really is.
even with a large group.
Yeah.
I've participated in presentations where they use polls, and it definitely makes you feel more involved.
Right.
It's not just a passive listening experience.
Exactly. You're turning your audience from spectators into active participants.
Yeah.
And that's what makes a virtual presentation truly memorable.
Okay.
It's about creating a shared experience.
This is so fascinating.
Yeah.
I'm already starting to feel inspired to rethink my approach to those virtual presentations.
Yeah.
What else should we consider when it comes to making those online presentations engaging?
Well, we've talked about engaging like individuals.
Yeah.
But what if you want to spark more in-depth discussions?
Okay.
That's where breakout rooms come in.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of those.
Yeah.
But to be honest, I haven't really used them myself.
Right.
How do they work exactly?
So it's actually pretty simple.
Okay.
Most platforms like Zoom and Teams have them built in.
Right.
So you can just divide your audience into smaller groups, give them a specific task or question to discuss,
Okay.
and then bring everyone back together to share their insights.
So it's kind of a way to break up the monotony of a large presentation
Exactly.
and encourage more active participation.
Yeah, it can be really effective for brainstorming, problem solving,
Okay.
or even just for getting to know each other better.
That's a good point.
Yeah,
It's so easy to feel isolated in these virtual settings.
it really is.
So anything that fosters that sense of connection is valuable.
Exactly.
Any tips for making those breakout rooms run smoothly?
Yeah, definitely.
I imagine it could get a bit chaotic.
For sure, clear instructions are key.
Okay.
So before sending people off into their groups,
Uh-huh.
make sure they know exactly what they're supposed to discuss,
Okay.
how much time they have, and how to share their findings afterwards.
Right.
You can even provide like a digital worksheet or a template to guide the discussion.
That's really helpful. I'm starting to see how those breakout rooms could be a game changer
Yeah.
for presentations.
Yeah.
Like adding a whole new dimension to interaction.
Definitely.
So while we're on the topic of interactive tools,
Yeah.
let's not forget about whiteboards and annotations.
Oh, yeah. Those are fun.
Yeah.
They're great for visual collaboration.
I've seen them used for brainstorming sessions, but I hadn't really thought about incorporating them into like a formal presentation.
Right.
How would that work?
So imagine you're presenting a new marketing strategy. Okay.
Instead of just talking about it,
Uh-huh.
you could use a virtual whiteboard to map out the different components.
Okay.
Invite your audience to add their ideas.
Right.
And then use annotations to highlight key points.
I like that.
Yeah,
It's like bringing the energy of a live whiteboard session
exactly.
into the virtual world.
Right.
Any favorite whiteboard or annotation tools?
Well, there are a lot of great options out there.
Yeah.
It kind of depends on your needs in your budget.
Okay.
But some popular ones include Mural,
Yeah, okay.
and even the built-in whiteboard features in Zoom and Teams.
I'm definitely going to check those out.
Yeah.
It's amazing how technology can bridge that gap
Uh-huh.
between physical and virtual collaboration.
It really is.
So don't forget about those little tools
Yeah.
that often get overlooked, like reactions and emojis.
Oh, yeah.
They might seem insignificant,
Right.
but they can add a nice layer of engagement and fun to your presentation.
Definitely.
You mean like the thumbs up or the clapping hands? Exactly. I admit I sometimes forget those are even there.
Yeah. They're easy to miss,
Right.
but they're a great way to encourage real-time feedback
Okay.
and create a more dynamic atmosphere.
Like how?
Well, for example, you could ask a question
Uh-huh.
and encourage people to use like a thumbs up or a thumbs down to indicate their agreement or disagreement.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah, it's like a virtual way of taking the pulse of the room.
It really is.
Yeah, it's all about finding these creative ways
Yeah.
to keep your audience involved and invested in the presentation.
Right.
Even small gestures can make a big difference.
So we've covered a lot of ground today.
I have.
From the importance of clear audio and video
Yeah.
to the power of those interactive tools
Uh-huh.
like breakout rooms and whiteboards.
Right.
It's clear there's a lot more to virtual presentations than just clicking through slides.
Oh, yeah, we've only scratched the surface.
Right.
The key takeaway is that virtual presentations don't have to be dull or impersonal.
With a little planning and creativity,
Yeah.
you can leverage technology to create some really engaging and impactful experiences
Okay.
for your audience.
This has been such an eye-opening conversation.
Good. I'm glad.
Yeah, I feel like I have a whole new toolkit now
Great.
for creating those engaging virtual presentations.
I'm glad to hear that. Remember, the key is to think beyond the slides
Okay.
and focus on creating a truly immersive and interactive experience.
I'm ready to ditch those boring slide decks and bring on the interactive whiteboards and breakout rooms.
That's the spirit.
Yeah.
And who knows, maybe you'll even inspire your audience to do the same.
Well, that's all the time we have for today.
Okay.
Thank you so much for sharing your expertise and insights with us.
The pleasure was all mine.
It's been a real pleasure. And to all our listeners out there,
Yeah.
remember to embrace the power of those virtual presentations and keep those online interactions engaging, impactful, and most importantly, human.
Right.
Until next time.
You know my biggest piece of advice?
This would be to just experiment.
Okay.
Don't be afraid to try new things.
Right.
See what works for you, what works for your audience,
Yeah.
and most importantly, just have fun with it.
That's such a good reminder because I think sometimes we get so caught up
Yeah.
in the technical aspects of it
Right.
that we forget to enjoy the process.
Exactly. Virtual presentations offer so much potential
Yeah.
for creativity and connection.
Right.
You know, it's really about finding those moments of human interaction,
Yeah.
even through a screen.
This has been such an eye-opening conversation. I feel like I have a whole new toolkit now for creating those engaging presentations.
That's great.
Yeah.
Remember, the key is to think beyond the slides
Okay.
and focus on creating that immersive and interactive experience.
I'm ready to ditch those boring slide decks
Yes.
and bring on the whiteboards in the breakout rooms.
That's the spirit.
Yeah.
You know, and who knows, maybe you'll even inspire your audience to do the same. Well, that's all the time we have for today.
Okay.
Thank you so much for joining us and for sharing your expertise with us.
It was my pleasure.
It's been a real pleasure.
Thank you.
And to all our listeners out there, thanks for tuning in,
Yes.
and we'll see you next time.